As an academy owner, you work hard to build trust with your students, their parents, and your community. But trust isn't something you claim, it's something you prove and earn. That's where Academy Safe comes in. We help academies like yours stand out with verified safety standards. Background checks for all staff, U.S. Center for Safe Sport certification, concussion training, defibrillators on site, CPR, first aid and AED certification, security cameras, rank and lineage checks, and verification of business insurance. Join the trusted martial arts registry that's redefining safety throughout North America. Lead by example. Show parents you're accredited with Academy Safe.
Hello, and welcome to My Empty Hands, a podcast about the martial arts with a focus on Kempo, but we give love to all the martial arts around here. As always, I am Reggie Darden, and I'm excited and overjoyed to have Andrew Adams with us today. He is a co-host and producer of the Whistlekick Martial Arts Radio, and all-around awesome martial artist, and we're going to get into his story in just a little bit. I usually start things off by giving a little bit of my background. I currently train in 5 different martial arts, American Kempo being the primary one. I also train in Capoeira, Hapkido, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Muay Thai. I also have some experience in Taekwondo and some boxing as well. So along with the podcast, a day job, 2 dogs, a hamster, and a fish, and a wife, I stay pretty busy, but it's fun stuff. I can't say no to some training. So here I am doing that thing and just enjoying the good things that the martial arts have to offer. So that's a little bit of my story, and we'll see what rat holes we get into as we go along. But I'm gonna turn it over to my esteemed guest here. How did the martial arts find you? Where did it all start? And we'll just go from there.
Awesome. Thank you, Reggie. It's great to be here. I had no idea that I would be doing a podcast with another follically challenged individual. So this is great. I feel very much at home.
Well, I actually just recently shaved. For whatever reason, I have a dislike for shaving and cutting my hair, but I don't particularly like to look like a unhoused person, and my wife is not the biggest fan of that look. So yeah, I had to shave and everything, and that's mainly because I can't grow a proper beard. If I could, that would be a very, very dangerous thing, because there would be all kinds of things in my beard at all times.
Yeah.
That's that's how I roll. But yeah, I like to be a little streamlined. Hopefully, it'll make me a little faster.
Yeah, I can totally relate. I get it. Okay, but getting back to your question, you asked, how did the martial arts find me? So I was probably 12 years old when my mom got divorced from her husband. And he wasn't a great person, wasn't a nice man. And we moved away, and I felt like as the, quote, man of the house, because my older brother was heading off to college, and so it was going to be just my mom and I. As the man of the house, I wanted to be able to protect my mom at 12, 13 years old. And I said, and I loved all stuff martial arts. I don't know why. I Ninja Turtles, Karate Kid movies, cheesy ninja movies, all that stuff I would watch all the time. And I said, I want to learn to do this for myself. And my mom said, no, you're too young, which is silly in hindsight at this point. 12 years old is not too young to start martial arts. I think it had more to do with my mom not wanting, not having the time to get me there. But I kept asking. And when I finally got to high school, she said, okay, but you have to find the place, you do the research. You're 14 years old now. So I did. I went in the yellow papers, the yellow pages, which for those millennials listening, there used to be a book with phone numbers in it. and in the back you'd find businesses. And so I went to the Yellow Pages and found my first karate school. And I couldn't tell you what made me choose the school that I chose, because I didn't really know a difference between Kempo or Goju-Ryu or Shotokan or any other style of martial art, other than I probably knew the difference between Kung Fu, because they have their own kind of movie, Kung Fu movies. But I just chose one. I called them up out of the blue, and my mom and I went, and it was a Goju-Ryu school. And that's where I first got my introduction to martial arts. And so I was, 14 years old, and I wanted to protect my mom.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, and for me, I was just always interested in the martial arts. Growing up with the Kung Fu theater and the Black Belt theater, and watching all those movies and stuff, I was always into it and wanted to do it. And I kind of like you, begged my parents, specifically my father, to allow me to join. And he would never submit to my will. His story, and I can't verify this. I don't have any proof or anything. But his claim was that he was once a bodyguard for Muhammad Ali.
Oh, wow.
And at the time, martial arts were gaining popularity here in the United States, and he says that the other guys that he was working with were talking about, oh, well, I'm doing this karate thing, and I can pull a guy's heart out and show it to him before he dies, and do all of this kind of thing. So he had it in his mind that martial arts was all about killing and death and stuff like that. So he would never allow me to get involved. But about 15 years of wearing him down, I was able to finally get the green light to start up at my first school, which is a Kempo school. I saw the movie The Perfect Weapon, starring Jeff Speakman, and said, yeah, I need to do this. And that's how I got into that. And just the love affair has been ongoing ever since.
Yep, I can totally relate. Also, saw The Perfect Weapon with Jeff Speakman. It was a favorite of mine. So I can absolutely relate.
Very nice, very nice. So after that, or well, I should say, how long were you at that first school?
So I
Are you
trained.
still with it?
Good question. So I trained there all through high school, and went off to college. I still trained at the school, but it was a little harder because I went to college a few hours away, didn't have the ability to, drive a couple hours while still being in school. But I would, go back on vacations, and, occasional weekends I'd go home to see my mom. And so I trained there for probably about 6 years or so. And then I moved out on my own after I left college, and just couldn't afford it. It was just not something that I started working a full-time job, which gave me income, but now I'm living on my own. I've got to pay rent, and I've got to pay electric, and I've got to pay phone, like all of these bills that I never had to deal with before. And I just didn't have the time or money to continue to train. Fast forward, probably 7 or 8 years, I moved to northern Vermont for a job. And a really good friend of mine also had been training in martial arts, gotten to about the same level as that I had been, stopped for a number of years and wasn't training. We both really missed it. And so we looked for a new martial arts school in the area. And we found a Shotokan school, and Shotokan is very different from Goju-Ryu. Just stylistically, both karate, but Goju-Ryu a little more Okinawan based, slightly higher stances. Shotokan a little more deeper stances, a lot more attention to forms and whatnot. And it didn't have everything that I wanted in a martial arts school, but the thing that really set it apart from other schools was the instructor. He, when I messaged him, he said, "Come on in and check it out." I said, "I'm more than happy to start over at white belt." And he said, No. You earned your rank. That's fine. You can stay at that rank. But he said, and this is the key point, and I hope people listening, if you're an instructor, take note. He said to me, "Come and check out a couple of classes for free. And if you don't like it, if this is not the school for you, let me know. And I'm more than happy to point you in another direction that might be a better fit for you locally. That's what you're looking for." And that really, really resonated with me, because I've never, even still to this day, I don't understand the clashing of schools, that if there are two martial arts schools in the same town, they don't have to hate each other. There's no reason for it. You might think there is, but there really isn't when you break it down. But that meant a lot to me, that he was willing and open to me training somewhere else. And that meant a lot to me as a student.
Oh yeah, the teacher makes all the difference, and the willingness to be able to let a paying customer out the door is huge. It should be about the art, and I mean, of course, you have a business and you're running a business, but it says more when you're willing to let that paycheck out the door than it is you holding on to that person for dear life.
Yeah.
It really says a lot about the character and the teaching. I like also, it just made me think about my own journey in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I was never really particularly interested in getting involved in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, who wants to roll around on the ground with sweaty guys? But the school that I am training at, I took my little trial lesson, and right after I got done with the trial lesson, the professor was like, "Okay, well, the next class is starting. Come on and hop in." And I'm standing there thinking, you just realized that I finished my trial week class about 30 seconds ago, and you want me in this next class? And it wasn't because I'm some kind of jiu-jitsu prodigy, because I am very much not. But it was just, he understood that it's important to get that time on the mat, and it doesn't matter if I just did my first class. He wants me in there to train, and so that was definitely my sign that this was the place to be. And now I'm happily have that on my list of things eating up my time, and enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah, no, I totally can relate. And the way I look at it is, if I have a school and I'm teaching this style of martial art, and my students are happy because I'm providing to them what they want. If this other school across town, even if they teach the exact same art, every single person listening should recognize that those two people are going to teach that same art completely differently. And if my students are happy at my school, they would not be happy at that person's school. And if that person has students that are training over there that are happy, they would come to my school and not like it at all, because I teach very differently from that person over there. So we're really not competing for the same students, because the students that like your school wouldn't like mine, and the students that like my school would not like yours. So why can't we all just get along and be friends and work together and do stuff together? Because a rising tide raises all ships.
Exactly. We should all be about promoting the arts and not fighting with each other, or at least not in the competitive sense. My school is better than it should just be about, hey, let me try and kill you because I love you so much and I love the art so much that let me try and choke you out, or put the elbow in your rib cage.
Yep. Yep.
Out of love.
And it's one of the reasons why I personally hate the word McDojo. I hate that word. And people listening might be thinking, oh, it's because he goes to one. Okay, maybe you would think I do. I don't know, and I don't care. But my question for you, Reggie, is why do people label schools McDojos?
I think it's a big part of it is there's a lot of schools out there that are the black belt factory on the assembly line. I know for my journey. So when I left Southern California for the Army, and I left the Army. I did some training while I was in the Army, and then when I got out, I didn't move back to San Diego. I moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I wanted to keep training, but of course I missed my old instructor. I missed the loyal and the style, and I wanted to find something, and I went around to a number of different schools, and you can tell the passion a teacher has. And I went to, sorry, this is not a indictment of Taekwondo, but I went to a lot of Taekwondo schools, and I watched, and I could just tell that the teachers were there for that big martial arts instructor paycheck.
Sure.
And they're just that passion wasn't there. And then I found the gentleman that was teaching capoeira, and he was teaching at some little hippie art school. He was just kind of they had a little room in the back, and but I mean, the second I watched him leading the class, I was like, this is someone that is passionate about the art. And yeah, they don't have a big fancy, I mean, they don't even have their own building, but
yeah.
This is quality, instruction here. This is someone that cares about the art and cares about the students. And so I signed up, and just looking through all the different training. I mean, how many countless martial arts masters, teachers that still just teach in a garage, and teach in their house and stuff, and they're amazing teachers, and they could easily. I mean, I've interviewed some people that could easily, if they went out and said, okay, I want to open some big mega school, they'd have the place full in a second. But they are more interested in the art, and they're willing to just be in the garage, and they're doing great things from there. So
yeah. So I want to get back to the McDojo thing, but I'll quickly say, just really, I'm going to zip through the rest of my quote resume, right? So I started training Shotokan at this new school. 16 years I was there, and I got to 3rd degree black belt. I don't think anyone would consider 3rd degree black belt in 16 years a belt factory, right? I then stopped training for a number of years. I moved away, got married, blah, 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 took another break, and started training Shorin-ryu and another style of karate. And I trained at this school for about 10 years and made it to 2nd degree black belt. I tell you all of that so that the listeners will get an idea. Like, I did not earn my black belt in a year, right? However, most people who call McDojos are because of something like that. Your black belt is a participation trophy, and as long as you keep showing up, you don't really learn anything. Once you've been there a year or two, you're going to get your black belt. Well, my response to that is, who cares? Who cares that school across town doesn't produce, in my opinion, good martial artists? Are those students happy? Do they feel comfortable paying him to learn whatever it is that person's teaching? If they are, who am I to say that's a bad school? Your students are happy. They're paying you money. Awesome. Great. Black belts are not from one school to another are not the same thing. They never have been. They never will be. I don't know that they should be. So if that's the case, why do I care what that school across the way does? Why do I have to demean them and call them a McDojo? How about I just call them a dojo? There's another school across the street, right across the street from me. It doesn't have to be a McDojo. Those students are happy. Let them be happy. That's why I hate the word McDojo. We shouldn't
well said.
We shouldn't be fighting other martial artists. We should be embracing them to continue to teach whatever art it is that we teach.
Exactly. I like it. So, so we had the Goju-Ryu, we had the Shotokan, and the Shorin-Ryu. Is that?
Yep, Shorin-Ryu, which is what I'm currently training in. I also took a couple year break there, and not break. I continued to train Shorin-Ryu, but I started training with Bill Superfoot Wallace, and got my first degree black belt under Grandmaster Wallace as well.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, I love Mr. Wallace. He is still. I still can't say enough about just how amazing he is. I've had a chance to be kick, punched, and choked by him 2 different occasions, and I just seeing him do his thing is just still mind blowing.
He's not human. I'm convinced he is not human.
I think you may be right on that. I think you may be right. I mean, he's still, what is he, 70, 80? Didn't he just turn 79 to 80?
I think he just turned 80, yeah.
And still full splits, like no problem. I'm still shocked and in awe of him, and every time I see him do his thing, it's just amazing. So for all the boys and girls out there, you are not too old to start or to restart or to keep going. Like I say, you're too old 10 minutes after you're dead, then you're too old for to get in the training there.
And it's one of the things that I love about traditional martial arts, specifically like a karate, or I haven't studied Taekwondo much myself, but I think the same could be said of it, is that you can train it when you're 6, when you're 60, or when you're 106. Right? Now, the training that the 60-year-old does is going to be different from the training of the 6-year-old or the 16-year-old or the 36-year-old, right? The training will be different, but there is still something to be done regardless. And that's not to say that the other arts don't have that, but I think you don't find many 60-year-olds fighting in the UFC. You don't find many 10-year-olds starting to learn Tai Chi. Now, that's not to say that there's nothing for the 10-year-old to learn in Tai Chi. There absolutely are. But I think karate holds, and regardless of what karate it is, whether it's Kempo or Goju-Ryu or Shotokan or Shorin-Ryu or Uechi-Ryu, Wado-Ryu, whatever it is, there's something for everybody. It'll be different depending on your age and your training style and what you like and want to do. But I love that about traditional martial arts.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's definitely a need to find what scratches that itch. Not everybody is trying to be the I was a guest on Paul Coffey's podcast earlier today, and we mentioned or I brought up the movie Undisputed 3. I guess it'd be Undisputed 2 and Undisputed 3 with Scott Adkins as Boyka, the most complete fighter. And once again, I'm falling into the terrible accent, but yeah, not everyone wants to be the most complete fighter. Some people just want to to have that community, or some people just want
Absolutely.
the exercise, or some people just want that to not be lonely, whatever. There's all these different reasons, and there's something out there for everybody. And yeah, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu may be the talk of the town right now, and yesterday it was Taekwondo, and
Well, and
tomorrow it might be whatever style. And it doesn't matter the style, it matters what school, what teacher scratches that itch for you.
and your reasons for training are allowed to change as well, right? I'm still training to this day. I'm not training now to protect my mom. That's why I started training. But I don't still train to protect my mom. She lives, she doesn't live with me anymore. She's, I'm not there anymore. My reason for training now is very different. My reason for training now is different than it was 20 years ago. I think you need to give yourself permission to change your why, because often people's why does end up changing, and they don't understand why, and they end up getting burnt out. And that's why, in my opinion, a lot of martial artists stop training, because they haven't really evaluated their why.
Exactly. And that just makes me think of something that I heard on another podcast, and I just love it. But it's escaping me who it was that said this, but he basically said something along the lines of, "Don't be afraid to quit." And now, when you hear that, it's like, you sure you're saying that right? And he elaborated that it doesn't mean, oh well, this is hard, I'm going to stop. It means that, yeah, if your reason for training changes, or if you're at a school that's not meeting your needs, we have such loyalty to these teachers and these schools, and if the school is not working for you, it's fine to go ahead and leave that school and find another school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or if you're just getting burnt out and you need to take a break, like take a break. It's okay. It's not going to be the end of the world if you're like, okay, I need to just take 6 months, a year away from training. But then when you've got what you need, when you've got your tank refilled, then come back and you can start going again. I mean, I had a 25 year gap in between the Kempo schools that I was at, and that's fine. It was my time. Life gets in the way, and
Absolutely.
and it wasn't my time for me to be training. And then when I got back into it, then I found the school that or I should say the school found me that I needed at the time, and I've met the people that I needed to meet at the time that I needed to meet them. So yeah, it's important to be able to allow your priorities to change. I'll just once again use myself as an example. I got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I was like, I'm never going to do the competing thing. I'm not interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
Did my first tournament a few months ago, and I got that taste, and
Sure.
and now I'm looking forward to the next competition that I'm going to sign up for. I don't know if it'll be my last one, but I thought it was going to be one and done. But now I want to give it another go, and that's fine. And if I do another one and I say, okay, that's it, I got 2 under my belt, I don't need to do it again, then that's fine. Or if I say, let me keep doing it, then I'll do that as well.
And I suspect that if you went back and quote unquote soul searched, you might find that when you started BJJ, your reason for training was one thing, and now it has shifted slightly, and it has allowed you and opened up your mind to doing some competition, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. The number of people who I have seen that were like mega tournament competitors. Like they would go to, there's 52 weeks a year. They go to like 30 tournaments a year. And they are getting sick of it and they think, oh, well, I might as well stop martial arts because I don't want to do competitions anymore. You can still do martial arts and not compete, right? Your reason for training can change. You can now train for yourself and not have to go out and do all of these competitions. So I don't know. I love it. I think it's great. I'm a lifer. I don't know what else to tell you in that regard. Train.
Right there. Exactly. I'm right there with you. So let's move into the teaching aspect of it. I assume that you do some teaching or you have a school. Sorry, I get so many things are floating around in my head, and
yeah.
a lot of guests, and I get lost on who does what. And because I do so much show prep, knock knock, wink wink. So the teaching side, you do teaching. When did that start for you? And was that something that you were always interested into it, or were you did you have it thrust upon you?
So I've been a teacher pretty much my entire life. Like in high school, I was working at a youth drop-in center for kids. I was in high school and the kids were like late elementary school, like 3rd to 6th grade. And so I have always worked with children pretty much my entire life. I started drumming in high school. And about 10 years ago, actually, I quit my salaried day job to teach drumming for a living. And it's like, that's what I do. But I had been teaching drumming prior to that as well, but it was kind of on the side a little bit. And so I've been teaching my whole life. I started teaching martial arts when I was working with my Shotokan school. I would help the instructor with classes. I'm an adult at this point. I'm in my 30s. And late 20s, early 30s. And then I took a break, started training Shorin-ryu for 10 years. And I started doing a lot more teaching because the instructor had one advanced student, which was me. I was the only black belt in the school. And I was there for 10 years. He let me stay at black belt. This is actually kind of cool. I offered when I came in, I'm more than happy to wear white belt. I don't care. And he said, no, you earned that rank. You wear your black belt that you got from your Shotokan school. And it had my name on it, and it had, 3 stripes because that's the way the school did it. I was a 3rd degree black belt. And he treated me like a black belt, and all of the other students there saw me as a black belt. But he came up in a school where once you got your black belt, you wore a plain black belt regardless of whether you were 1st degree or a 7th degree. It was just a plain black belt, no stripes, no nothing. And this was really, really cool. And I haven't yet had the opportunity to do this to a student, but I suspect that I will eventually. There was the very first test. Like, I had been training with him for 3, 4, 5 months or so. No, it would have been, well, he did trainings 3 times a year. So it would have been probably about 4 months. And I wasn't testing because, like, I've only been here 4 months. So he has me sit up in the front with the other black belts. And when I say other black belts, his teacher came, and it was him and then myself. So there was just the 3 of us. And right away, that was like, I felt kind of honored because I've only been a student of his now for 4 months, and he's having me sit up with his instructor. But he was treating me like a black belt because I earned my black belt. And so I watched the test. I didn't have to do anything. I just sat there and watched. And when it was over, he had everybody line up, and he asked me to line up at the head of the class like I normally would. And he called up each student individually for their rank promotion. And he starts at the bottom. He starts at the white belts, and then he starts with the green belts, and he got through everybody that tested. And then he said, "There's one more person that I want to call up." And I'm looking around, thinking to myself, "Who's he going to call up? He's called up everybody that just tested." And he asked me to come up, and so I went up in front, and he said to the class, he made a little speech about, "I want to be really clear, everybody. Andrew is a black belt. I am not promoting him to black belt because he is a black belt. Andrew, would you be willing to take your black belt off, your Shotokan black belt off?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." Okay, I took it off. And he said, "Put it over your shoulder," and I did. And he pulled out a plain black belt. And he said, "I want to be really clear, everyone. I am not promoting Andrew to black belt because he is a black belt already. But I'm going to ask Andrew to wear this belt in our club if he's amenable to that." And I said, "Absolutely," because I didn't care. So I put the black belt on. And then he again made a thing about, just a reminder, everybody, I did not promote Andrew to black belt. However, and he pulled out green tape and said, "I am promoting Andrew in our school to green belt." And he put green tape on the end of my black belt. He said, "You are a black belt. Everybody here should treat you like a black belt. But in our school, you are a green belt in terms of the curriculum." And I said, "Okay, that's great." And then another year or two went by. Actually, gosh, it was probably 3 years. My next test was for brown belt. And he put brown tape at the end of my black belt. So it was a way to reward me within the school, allow me to actually test in front of students. And my green belt test, I didn't actually test. I didn't have to do anything. But let's face it, most of the things you'd have to learn for that rank are just basics. And obviously I could do the basics, so he wasn't worried about it. When I tested for brown belt, it was an actual test. I had to actually perform and do things. And then a few years later, I tested for black belt, and then he just took the tape off my belt. So now I had a plain black belt again. But because I was the only advanced student, if he couldn't do class, because he knew I was a black belt and had, done Shotokan for 16 years, done just training in Goju-Ryu, I'd been at his school now for a number of years, I would be the one that would take over teaching class. Because his other option was, there's no class tonight. Class is canceled. And that's not great for the students. They paid money to be there. So I ended up doing a fair bit of teaching. He ended up getting into he had a medical issue come up where he basically couldn't walk for about 3 months or so. And I just took over the school. For 3 months, I taught every single class. And so I was able to utilize my drumming skills as a teacher and just translate a lot of those, because being a teacher is a skill. A lot of people don't realize that. You can be a great doer and not a great teacher. You can also be an incredible teacher, but not a great doer. And I have no problem patting myself on the back and saying, I'm a very good teacher. And so that's where I really honed in my skills of teaching, specifically martial arts. I since left that school, and I'm now training at another Shorin-ryu school. And so I'm not doing nearly as much teaching there. However, I did start a karate club. I put karate in air quotes because it's really more of a martial art club at the local college. They had a BJJ club, but they didn't have anything else. The only martial art club they had on campus was BJJ. So I contacted some students that I knew that were there, like college students who I knew did some training, and started up a karate club. And so we've been going about 4 months now, just this first semester. So that's the only teaching or school that I have is just this local college karate club.
Okay, very nice, very nice. I like it. A couple of things that came to mind. A quick rat hole tangent here. The movie Whiplash, total nonsense, or okay, that's kind of what I thought.
So that's an interesting. So for those that don't know, Whiplash is a movie about a jazz drummer who goes to, I think it was Berkeley, though I'm not positive of the school, but goes to a prestigious jazz school with a band director leader that is kind of insane, played by J.K. Simmons. I think that's his name.
Yes. Yeah.
Phenomenal actor, and the movie was great. I'm not in that world of jazz drumming. The drumming I do is not that world, so I don't know how accurate the movie is. It was a fun movie, couple little twists at the end. I enjoyed the movie, but I couldn't tell you how accurate it was.
Okay. Gotcha. The other thing that came to mind about the teaching, I taught capoeira for a lot of years, and still sort of trying to do that in my busy schedule now. But I had a friend of mine that we trained together in capoeira for a little while, and he went off to travel the world, and he came back, and he kept telling me, "Oh, like I want to run the class tonight. I got all this great stuff. I've been traveling the world, and I want to teach the class tonight." And I told him I'm fine with that, but just kind of keep in mind that teaching is a little bit tougher than it looks. You know, are you sure you're prepared? Which is funny coming from me, because I'm not exactly the best at preparing ahead of time, but I was like, are you sure you're up for this? And he said, yeah, I want to teach the class. So I said, okay, fine. So so the next class he starts teaching, and he's up there, and I go ahead and get in the back of the class, and he's doing this thing, and I'll be generous and say he got about 10 minutes worth of material, 10 minutes into the class. It's probably more like 5, but let's just be nice, and he got 10 minutes into the class, and he was starting to struggle with coming up with things to do. It was like, okay, we've shown the sequence, and all right, here we go. And I'm like looking at the class. We still have about 50 minutes left in class.
Yeah,
gonna need a little more than that, and it was just kind of funny, and I kind of slowly injected myself, started making my way up towards the head of the class.
Bailed them out. Yeah, you bailed them out. I just
always thought it was so funny.
So it's one of the reasons why. So Whistlekick does a lot of things, and a number of years ago, we I think Jeremy and I did an episode on this actually about name me any other sport or even hobby where you get to a certain level of doing, and then you are expected to teach. Now, not every martial arts school is like this, but I bet people listening will relate to this, that there are a lot of martial arts schools where you train, boom, here's your black belt, now you're expected to teach. That it's not like, oh, I've done tennis for a long time, now I can teach tennis. Or I've done basketball for a long time, now I can teach basketball. Like, teaching is a skill, and it's one of the things that Whistlekick put together a training program on how to teach. It's called Martial Art Teacher Training and Certification. And it is not how to teach someone how to punch and kick. Like, this is how you teach someone to punch. No, it has nothing to do with the thing you're teaching, and it has everything to do with how you teach. And that has been so good for people that have taken it, because exactly that, like, teaching is a skill that you have to learn how to do. And it's not rocket science, but you have to learn those skills.
Indeed. Just made me think of another little rat hole that came up the other day. So one of my jiu-jitsu professors was mentioning that in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and this doesn't seem to be the case in other martial arts schools, but so we recently had a number of people get promoted to black belt, and it was a big deal, and everything like that, and all those that got promoted definitely deserved it, and they put in the work and everything like that. But one of the things that came up that my professor was talking about was that in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, it seems like this is the only art where you're kind of where you're expected to be able to whoop the pants off of everybody else in the gym. And he said that, and it kind of struck me as funny, but then I thought about it and it was like, yeah, I mean, if you're going to another school, you're visiting it, you're traveling, and you go and visit another school or something like that, and whatever rank that you're at, it's not there doesn't seem to be this whether it can happen or not. There doesn't seem to be this expectation that the head of the school can take out everybody else. Only in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where it's like if you're a visitor and you tap the professor, like that's totally unacceptable. And it just I thought that was funny, because I mean, my professors are like, oh well, in at my particular school, the head professor is really better than everybody else. However, when we have other guests instructors come in, he's tapping our head professor is getting tapped, and it's like, oh my god, that's not allowed, but that's totally allowed. But it's kind of interesting to me that I can't think of any other art where that's the case. But and then he made the analogy of it's like we don't expect Bill Belichick to get out on the field and outplay everybody else on the field, and that sort of thing. But
yeah. And it just goes to show, again, you can be a good doer and not a good teacher, and you can be a great teacher and not a great doer. I mean, there is and I've told this story on our podcast a couple of times. So the drumming that I do specialize in is drumming for bagpipe bands. Right. So you see a bagpipe band walking down the street or competing in a competition. They've got bagpipers, but they also have drummers. I teach that type of drumming. I teach drum set as well and all kinds of other drumming, but I specialize in Highland drumming. And so I'm in the Highland world, and there is also Highland dancing. And you've probably think of Riverside, like, Lord of the Dance, but that's Irish dancing. Highland dancing, the big difference is it uses arms, but it's a lot of jumping on one foot, right? So I don't care who you are. If you think this is not athletic, just go ahead and stand up, if you're driving, pull the car over, get out, stand on one foot and jump using your toes up and down and up and down and up and down for a couple of minutes. It's very athletic. There is a woman in Texas who continually, every single year, her dancers compete at the World Championships and are in the prize list, right? Her dancers are continually some of the best in the world at dancing on one foot. She herself is probably 400 to 500 pounds. She's not dancing on one foot, but she knows how to get these girls, mostly she teaches girls, to do that. You can be a great teacher and not a great doer.
Exactly. Just reminds me of something else. So in the Kempo world, there was a great teacher by the name of Frank Trejo, and he had a lot of health challenges later in his life, and one of my guests was talking about Frank Trejo taught him one of the complicated, very complicated forms in Kempo, and Frank Trejo was able to teach him this form, a very complex form, while he was in a wheelchair. He had just had his legs amputated, arm amputated, and but yet he was able to teach this form. And this guest was able. I mean, he was a competition winning, using that form to win numerous competitions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, just because you may not be able to physically do it doesn't mean that you can't teach it. So
Absolutely. Love it.
very nice. So looking at the time, we're flying through the time, which I love and I hate at the same time, because
I can
there's only
relate.
so much that we can get to an hour, and with all the various people that I've had a chance to chat with, there's so many areas that I want to get into. I mean, we haven't even really gotten into the whistle kick part of it, but like I say, with every guest, we'll have to do part 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and all that stuff.
Sounds great.
But I do want to make sure that I get to one other piece here before we go into our lightning round to wrap up the show. So I've been asking my guest, since there isn't a standard among any of the arts about what constitutes a black belt, what it means to be a black belt, what it means to earn a black belt, what it means to have a black belt. I'm curious as to what your interpretation, what your thoughts are about that.
I think that obviously within, and I'm only speaking for me and my school. In my school, I expect students to know a curriculum of stuff. I don't want to bore people with what I expect them to know, but obviously they've got to know X, Y, Z. But I think the thing that a lot of people miss out on, and in our school, I make sure this is, in this, I'm not, okay, back up, Andrew. I don't have my own school other than the karate club, but in the schools that I have trained in and worked through, there is a major part of getting your black belt is who you are as a person. If you are a jerk, if you are not a nice person, you shouldn't get a black belt. And you wouldn't in any school that I have a say in you getting rank. I think getting a black belt should be something that everyone has the ability to do, but maintaining your black belt is much harder. It's being a good person, following a code of conduct that shows your students that you are a nice and a good person. I think there are a lot of black belt jerks out there that if their instructors had withheld them getting their black belt because they were jerks, we would have a lot less jerky black belts.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It's a lot of rank chasing and all that stuff, but yeah. All right, so great answer. I like that. So we're going to move into our lightning round here. Just a few little questions as we head towards wrapping up here.
All right, should I start? Should I get a stopwatch?
No, I probably need to come up with another name. I say it's the lightning round just because I didn't have a better name for it, but
all right.
it's not exactly a lightning round in the usual sense, but we'll go through it here. So the first question is, do you have a favorite technique?
I'm a big fan of the back fist ridge hand or back fist reverse punch.
Very nice. Yes, I like that too. In my limited competing days, that was my go-to. So I like that. All right. The next one. Do you have a favorite form and or set?
I am a fan of. So that's a tough one because I'm a forms guy. I love I learn forms very quickly. I think I really enjoy from the Shotokan side, Kankusho. When I compete, which is not very often, maybe once a year, although I haven't for a while, Kankusho has been the one. I enjoy it. It's a little athletic. I don't do it as well now as I used to when I was in my younger days. And I'm also a fan of Heian or Pinan Yondan.
Very nice. Very nice. I like it. All right. Next question. Do you have a favorite weapon?
Sai.
Nice. Nice. Very nice. Good.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter, what, it doesn't matter the length that they are, because size doesn't matter.
I was kind of wondering where you were going to go with that one, and I like it. Very nice, very nice. All right, next question. If there is anyone that you could train with, living or dead, fictional or non-fictional, who would that be?
Anku Atosu.
Okay, the name doesn't super ring a bell to me, but
So Itosu trained most of, or a lot of, the original Okinawan masters, Miyagi, Funakoshi, Motobu, like that era. He was their predecessor.
oh, okay, very very cool, very cool. I like that. All right, then the final question here. What is something that either motivates you to train, or something that you would like to put out there to motivate others to train? I usually frame this of using the movie Rocky IV, when he's the training montage in the snow, he's running, he's chopping the wood, all that good stuff. Hearing that music going. Anytime I watch that, I'm ready to hit the academy, get to training. So what is either something like that for you, or something that you'd like to put out for others?
So Jeremy and I, Jeremy, the main host of the Whistlekick Martial Arts Radio podcast, he and I have talked about this a lot on the show. There are not many things where an adult would say, oh, I trained, or I did basketball for 6 months as a kid, and I really wish I kept doing basketball. Or, I did soccer for a while, and it really changed my life. But the number of times that I have heard someone say as an adult, oh, you know what? I trained Taekwondo as a kid, and I really enjoyed it. I wish I'd stuck with it. Or I trained Taekwondo as a kid, and I really want my child to start that up because it taught me a lot. Martial arts can change the world. If everyone in the world trained martial arts for 6 months, the world would be a better place. Period.
I agree. I like that. All right. So we are now at our very final piece of business for today, and that is the shameless self-promotion. So you can plug anything that you'd like, or if there's anything that we haven't talked about that you wanted to make sure that you got out there, you now have the floor, and then we will close out from there.
So, as I mentioned, Whistlekick Martial Arts Radio, it's another podcast. Just like I'm not a fan of martial arts schools being enemies, the same with martial arts podcasts. I'm here on another martial arts podcast. I listen to other people's martial arts podcasts. We don't have to hate each other. We can all support each other, because if someone likes my podcast, great. That doesn't mean they won't like other people's podcasts as well. Or maybe they don't like mine and they will love yours. Awesome. We love that. So please feel free to go check it out, whistlekickmartialartsradio.com. We have over 1,000 episodes at this point, and they're all completely free. There's no paywall, so go check it out. And Whistlekick does a lot more than just the podcast, so you can check that out, whistlekick.com.
Excellent. Yeah, I've been enjoying. Been trying to catch up. Been kind of cherry picking mostly people that either I'm about to interview or just kind of names that I recognize. But I've been checking out some of the other episodes and stuff too, and just really great stuff. So yeah, if y'all out there only listen to one podcast, listen to Whistlekick, and then if you listen to 2 podcasts this year, listen to this one as well.
No, listen to Empty Hands. Listen to Empty Hands too.
But yeah, I just thank you so much for taking the time to be on and sharing your story. And we'll definitely have to do this again to get into so many other topics. But once again, just so thankful for this, and I can't wait to get this out for everyone else to check out. So
Thank you so much. It was a true honor, Reggie. Thank you so much.